Last night's episode of NXT was the first episode live on the USA Network slash the WWE Network, as we had 2 hours of NXT, of course, because Suits is still going on for USA Network for this week and next. We had 1 hour on USA, 1 hour on the WWE Network, because WWE wanted to get that first shot in for the Wednesday Night War, throw it in the quotation marks, but the Wednesday Night War. The show started off fantastic. We had that fatal four-way for the number one contender to the NXT Women's Championship, which will be happening, and I saw this coming before anyone else did. We still have a full month and change before we get to TakeOver War Games. So I knew that this was not going to be your TakeOver show main event, women's match for the Women's Championship. That's going to be decided in October. So this match, the winner of this match faces Shayna Baszler on October 2nd, the same night that Rio and Nyla Rose will be going for be deciding the first AEW Women's Champion. As you notice on the overlay, there is a change of wrestlers with their championships, as the Velveteen Dream is no longer your North American champion. He and Roderick Strong put on, well, for what we got to see on USA Network, a hell of a match. I wish, and this is something that's going to bug me, it's going to bug everybody else, and it's going to suck. Commercials during NXT matches. We have been blessed, we have been thankful for 5 years of wrestling on a network that is just commercial free or semi-commercial free. We got Lio Rush and Oney Lorcan in the second hour of this show. From start to finish, we saw the entire match. No commercials, no 3-minute commercial breaks, none of that. That was an absolute fantastic match. The match of the night. The match of the week in WWE. We also saw, in the second hour, Killian Dane, Matt Riddle attempt to have a street fight, but that did not go as planned. We will go into that as well. This episode wasn't the best episode of NXT of this year. I'm going to say no. Now, you know how most TV shows have what we call a pilot or multiple pilots going in and trying to shop around their show to get picked up by a network. I'm going to say that this episode is, and the next episode, the next 2 weeks of NXT on the USA Network are Pilot 1 and Pilot 2. Because they don't go live 2 hours on the USA Network until we get to October 2nd. There's gonna and it's the match order tonight. Also on the show, just felt it was great to see the women open the show, but I feel, in my opinion, that the women, opening show was fine. It was a fantastic match. Those women killed it out there. But the show should have opened, in my opinion, with Roderick Strong versus the Velveteen Dream. That match, with it being the final match of the USA Network portion of the broadcast, just felt like because they didn't want to have a cliffhanger going into the WWE Network portion, which in my opinion made absolutely no sense. I would have had the Matt Riddle Killian Dane match on the USA Network and not on the WWE Network, even though it ended the way it did. You could have had that chaos bleed into the network portion, and then you could have the Fatal 4-Way possibly be the main event, giving these women another 5, 6, maybe even 7 minutes, because they ended the show at 9:58. Not 9:58, but 9:50. There were 10 minutes left in this show. And unfortunately, I was like everyone else when it came to the WWE Network, if you weren't already logged onto the network, where the network got crashed, which I'm sure Vince McMahon is going to see as an absolute positive that the WWE, that people wanted to see the second hour of NXT so much that WWE's network crashed. So that is a positive for WWE. A couple of things I would have changed about this show, for sure, other than the match order, which I already talked about. The Aaliyah Xia Li match. Thank God that wasn't on the USA Network. That match was fucking awful. Xia Li might have some upside, might be a future player in the WWE, but Aaliyah, get her away from the ring. She sucks completely. I would have scrapped that match. Thank God that we had that Fatal 4-Way on the USA Network, because that was a representation of what the women's division is like in NXT. Aaliyah and Xia Li shit the fucking bed. That was awful. Imperium showed up on this show. They showed up. It was supposed to be Kushida versus some jobber. They beat up on jobber. It was Marcel Barthel, Fabian Eichner, and Alexander Wolf doing the beatdown. And then Walter came out afterwards, which the crowd popped huge for Walter, said his piece. Then him and Kushida came out and scuffled with them a little bit. Even took it to Walter some and that. But that, in my opinion, was something that I would have left for either week 2 or week 3. That would have been your huge, like, oh my god moment for the first episode against AEW. I think everyone can now just kill the Kevin Owens rumors. There were people talking about, oh, I'm sure Kevin Owens is going to come out here and help the Velveteen Dream against the Undisputed Era. That did not happen. Kevin Owens was nowhere to be found because Kevin Owens is not coming back to NXT. I think that was made quite clear last night on Tuesday on SmackDown. There is no reason to sit there and think now that Kevin Owens is coming to NXT. That rumor, that speculation is dead. So Imperium, definitely I would have kept until we got to against AEW. Another thing I would have changed was the Velveteen Dream and Roderick Strong. I think the reason we didn't get a non-finish there was because of the non-finish at the end of the show. I would have had this as a non-finish, unless you're planning to have the Undisputed Era with all 4 titles in the War Games match this year, which I don't think they're going to because they hold all 3 titles, not 4, but all 3 titles for the men. And you kind of want to have the NXT Championship defended at War Games. So I would have held this off. I would have had some kind of tomfoolery. Maybe something happens and they don't have a finish. They don't have a finish. Roderick Strong pissed off that he doesn't have the championship still. And Velveteen, and it's made official halfway, like on October 2nd, that NXT TakeOver War Games, you would get Roderick Strong versus the Velveteen Dream for the North American Championship, and that's where the title change would have happened. But they gave the title change tonight, which I know a lot of people predicted. I would have held off on it, and I wouldn't have had, like I said, I wouldn't have had Roderick Strong get beat clean. I would have had, again, something happen. Maybe the Undisputed Era screws it all up. Maybe there's some tension there. And then somehow, some way between now and War Games, it's a match another match made for War Games, but that didn't happen. We will probably start getting War Games build. We probably got War Games build tonight with Imperium. I could see quite clearly that if we're going to get War Games, and I've been pitching NXT UK versus NXT since the NXT UK brand started for War Games this year. Or pretty much, yeah, because last year it wasn't going to happen. But I was been pitching it, and I hope it's going to happen. You have Imperium. You have Marcel Barthel, Fabian Eichner, Alexander Wolf, and the leader, Walter, from NXT UK, versus Kushida, Matt Riddle, maybe Keith Lee, and Johnny Gargano, because honestly, I don't see any other way Johnny Gargano gets on TakeOver for War Games, and it would be the first time in, what was it, two and a half years since Gargano hasn't been on a TakeOver if he doesn't get on War Games. So I am pitching now that with Imperium making their presence this week and Kushida getting involved and what happens at the end of the show with Matt Riddle and Imperium, I could totally see at least Kushida and Matt Riddle versus Imperium with 2 partners that have yet to be made. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. Volta in that cage, we've already seen what Killian Dane can do in that cage, and I think it would just be good NXT wrestling for TakeOver. Now, the show started off with just Triple H's head, It looked like it was pre-recorded. It was just black. You saw Triple H's face, head, and he said there are moments in time that you're right. Those times where moments can change in a blink of an eye. Tonight, don't blink. Let's show you why we are NXT. Let us show you. And he just turns around, walks out to Full Sail, and it just transitions from Triple H to the live Mauro Ranallo with the microphone, welcomes us to NXT from Full Sail Live on campus at Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida. He is joined by Nigel McGuinness and Beth Phoenix. And we start off with Io Shirai, Mia Yim, Bianca Belair, and Candice LeRae. These four ladies killed it. This was a fantastic Fatal 4-Way for what we got to see. Again, I'm hoping between now and October 2nd, because quite honestly, it needs to happen. You have it on SmackDown. You use it sometimes on Raw. I want to see picture-in-picture. There is no reason that we could not have picture-in-picture for that North American Championship match. That match is more important than any match that has been in picture-in-picture on SmackDown Live in the last 2.5 years. When we got to the WWE Network on an hour 2, it was like night and day when it came to the matches. When it came to the show, no commercials or very little commercials. Seeing the entire Oney Lorcan and Lio Rush match with no commercial breaks was absolutely it felt awesome. Like, I will say that this show, as we get back to this in a second, the first half felt like a rush job, it felt like NXT, not NXT, and then the second hour felt like a normal episode of NXT. The second hour felt like your typical normal episode of NXT with good wrestling. The only promo we had tonight was Imperium. That was the only promo we had on the entire show for both the 8 o'clock hour and the 9 o'clock hour. So that was good stuff right there. Io Shirai came out first, then Bianca Belair, then Mia Yim, and then Candice LeRae. Candice LeRae bolts to the ring. She's trying to get her hands on Io Shirai immediately, but the female referee gets in between them, waits for the bell to ring. They go at each other. Mia Yim and Bianca Belair, who also have beef with each other, go at each other as well. This breaks down, and of course, eventually Io Shirai and Mia Yim end up on the outside. Candice LeRae looks like she's going to do a tope from one ring side to the other to Io Shirai or something, but Bianca Belair just knocks her on her ass. Back and forth here, we go to this was pretty cool because Io Shirai, Belair was in the middle of the ring, was on the apron, on the rope. She was like leaning on the middle rope. Bianca Belair, Mia Yim, and Io Shirai were having a tussle, and Mia Yim throws Io Shirai towards Bianca Belair, and she hits a Tiger Fang kick, or in WWE, the 619. Just nice little fluid there, right there. We come back, we get a formulaic Tower of fucking Doom. I am so tired of seeing that move. The Tower of Doom is used way too much. I can't recall, like, the last time I've seen a multi-person match and there was an attempt at a Tower of Doom. I mean, hell, the first NXT TakeOver War Games, we had a stereo Tower of Dooms. It's just, no, we don't need to see it anymore. All four women are down. Octopus submission by Candice LeRae on Io Shirai, but Yim breaks that up. Belair drives Yim to the mat. Shirai with a backbreaker to Belair. Beautiful looking backbreaker. I mean, it was a good enough backbreaker that I think Roderick Strong probably was sitting in the back waiting for his match, watching this match with a big smile on his face. Belair with a snap German suplex to Shirai. Later on, KOD attempt by Io Shirai, by Bianca Belair, but Mia Yim stops that. She does eventually hit a KOD onto Candice LeRae, but does not get the pinfall. Yim goes up top after she pushes. After Shirai goes up top for a moonsault, but Yim pushes her off. onto Belair on the floor. Yim goes up top, but LeRae cuts her off, climbs up, Yim slides down and goes for a powerbomb, but LeRae fights it off. LeRae with the poison, the match started to slow down a little bit, but when we got to the powerbomb spot that Mia Yim tried to hit, she came back around and got her up in the electric chair, but LeRae hits a picture-perfect, beautiful Poison Rana, springboard top Rana moonsault for the 1, 2, 3. Candice LeRae is your number one contender, and this match is going to be happening in 2 weeks, and in my opinion, should be your main event. After the match, LeRae celebrates as the music hits. We go to replays, and LeRae stands tall, and the stage, and out comes Shayna Baszler, Marina Shafir, and Jessamine Duke. LeRae, they surround Candice LeRae. Shayna Baszler shows off her championship to the crowd, and she just comes back and looks dead in Candice LeRae's eyes. They have some words. Candice LeRae looks like she is just ready to tussle right there. She's not scared. She's not intimidated, even with the other two right there. She goes from happy, jubilant, I got the biggest win of my career this year, to, bitch, we're going to go and I'm going to take that title from you. Now, this match is happening in 2 weeks. She's not winning. I do not see Candice LeRae winning. What if Candice LeRae beats Shayna Baszler? What was the fucking point of bringing Rhea Ripley into the fold for the women's division? Why would you have that match last week against Shayna Baszler that ended in DQ? The NXT TakeOver War Games match is Shayna Baszler versus Rhea Ripley. That is your War Games match, since this match is happening here. Should be an absolute fantastic match on that first night against AEW. I'll be watching it on Thursday, just like everyone else. I'll be either watching it on Thursday or going onto one of those wrestling streaming sites and watching it on Wednesday night after I watch AEW and then review AEW. Probably going to watch it on Thursdays. We get a quick video package of Adam Cole. We see the Undisputed Era backstage, the North American Champion, the Velvet Dream. Back from break, and we get a video package of Keith Lee versus Dominic Dijakovic. The feud will continue next week, and they did show that it's going to be on the USA Network portion of the show. If people don't get the memo still, this week and next week are the final 2 episodes of Suits. Suits is a Wednesday night show that has been on from 9 to 10, I believe, for I don't know how long. Haven't seen an episode. But USA Network has to finish that out. They had their episode tonight. They'll have their series finale next week. So, that is why NXT is going to be happening on USA and the WWE Network again next week. So, on the first half, I really wish they would keep this match for this Killian Dane and Dominic Dijakovic match for Keith Lee and Dominic Dijakovic for the USA Network. The WWE Network portion, because that's going to be a fantastic match. The last match, which they had about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, was absolutely fantastic. It will continue next week. Cannot wait. Matt Riddle versus Killian Dane will headline the second hour of this show. And then Triple H talked about us not blinking. If you blinked, you missed this match. Cameron Grimes versus Sean Maluna. Bell rings, jumping double stomp, 1, 2, 3. This match lasted about 5 seconds. Sean Maluna, I believe, is a cousin of the Usos and Roman Reigns, so he's going to be just fine. He's on the jobber end of the spectrum right now, but when they feel like he's ready, he's going to be a cog in NXT when they have a spot for somebody like Sean Maluna. We get a video package tonight's North American title match, and then we see North American Championship Roderick Strong versus the Velveteen Dream. 2 3-minute commercial breaks in this match. This was a fantastic match. These two showed you why NXT is the premier show. But unfortunately, because we've been so... This is what sucks, and I'm hoping, and I know it's probably going to be wishful thinking, I'm hoping when the full show goes up on WWE Network 10 o'clock tonight, that the full match minus commercials will be on this show, will be on there, because quite honestly, this match, like a match like this being, it was a takeover quality match. It was a takeover worthy match. And the fact that we had to sit through 2-minute commercials, 3-minute commercial spots, took you out of the match. Took you out. I hate that about Raw. I hate about SmackDown. And SmackDown outside of the main event has picture-in-picture. But it's like Baron Corbin versus Chad Gable this week was a fantastic match. There were commercials in between that. I'm sure that match would have felt a lot better too, because you would have seen the whole thing. Like I said, Leo Rush versus Oney Lorcan was on the second half of the show, and we saw the entire match because there are no commercials or very little commercials. Commercials that last maybe 30 seconds compared to 3 minutes. I know, yes, we have to be reminded about the Chrisleys or Jewel with those fucking trueless BS truth campaigns, because the people behind the truth campaigns are being paid by the big tobacco companies, or the Miz TV, or any of these stupid shits. We have to sit through that to be able to watch these matches. I'm hoping by the time AEW comes around, we get picture-in-picture, because this match deserved picture-in-picture. This match deserved picture-in-picture over the likes of the New Day and FTRKO, or any other match that happened on SmackDown this week. Strong was out first, then Velveteen Dream. Ring introductions by Alicia Taylor. I believe they stopped. Wait, somebody mentioned about NXT. They do list matches for one fall and then they pause, but they stopped doing that, I swear, months or a year ago. Just doesn't happen. This match was awesome. As you already see, you know who won the match. These guys put their bodies on the line. We had Dream Valley Driver. WrestlingInc.com decided they were going to put a tweet out during this match. They took a screenshot of Roderick Strong hitting a backbreaker on Velveteen Dream. They were like, $100 to take a backbreaker from Roderick Strong. No. There is not enough money in this world that would. There is not enough money in this world, and I could use all the money in the world just like anybody else. There is not enough money in this world that you could pay me to take any type of backbreaker from Roderick Strong, or knife edge chops from me either. Did you see Daniel Bryan's chest from the Greatest Royal Rumble? Yeah, I'm not like Roderick Strong is one of those guys that if he wanted to give me a backbreaker, I'm stepping out. No, thank you. But these guys kicked so much ass. Let's see. We had Strong win a closing pin attempt. Dream Valley Driver. He avoided the Dream Valley Driver. Back and forth. Dream hits the Dream DT, which I've never heard it called that, but okay. For a 2 count. Dream goes up top, but Strong goes to the floor. They fight with Strong on the apron. Strong ends up dropping Dream with a big kick to the mouth. Dream blocks a draping DDT and rocks Strong with right hand. Strong fires back with a jumping knee strike. Strong wraps Dream's arm up in the ropes and now talks trash. Dream trades Strong and Dream they trade shots. Dream gets the upper hand and delivers a backbonded drop when Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, and Bobby Fish all make it out to the ring. Dream, like the referee gets bumped. They're all there. Dream gets up. He's like dazed. He's like, what the hell? They're all around. Dream referee gets bumped, which quite honestly didn't really need to happen because outside of the only thing that happened that the Undisputed Era cost the match was, yes, they got up and Dream knocked him down, but when Adam Cole super kicked Velveteen Dream off the top rope, the referee was already up, but he was being distracted by the Undisputed Era. Referee distracts, we get a super kick to Velveteen Dream. Dream by end of Heartache 1, 2, 3. Before all that happened, there was an end of Heartache that was hit. That was a very, very, very close 2 count. But end of Heartache 1, 2, 3 after the super kick, and your new North American champion is Roderick Strong. After the match, Undisputed Era celebrates the ring as we have all the gold. That is it for the first hour, and they cut away to suits as we go to the WWE Network. And as I was, and as a bunch of other people were too, this was not good for WWE. This was, I mean, yes, it's good because so many people wanted to see the second hour. What are you going to do? But This was just wow. The fact that they had so much power. I have a Roku TV. I turned on the TV. I switched over to the WWE Network app. I click it. I go to watch NXT, not thinking about it. And it's like, please sign in or create an account. And I'm like, what? I know my WWE Network got paid this month because I just watched it 2 days ago, and my pay period started at the beginning of the month. So I know I just watched that Adrian Street documentary about a couple days ago, or I watched Sasha Banks Chronicle this past week, and I watched Clash of Champions on Sunday. So I know that I have the WWE Network for this month. So what is going on? I look on Twitter, and it just wasn't me. Wrestling post, WrestleVote post. Okay, what did you guys do to make the WWE Network crash? That just shows you how good NXT was in that first hour. People were intrigued. People who probably don't watch NXT on a regular on Wednesdays nights watched that first hour and was like, you know what? I'm going to watch hour 2. The second hour opens live on the network with the Undisputed Era continuing their celebration. Mauro Ranallo reveals that Candice LeRae will get her title shot from Shayna Baszler on October 2nd. Why would that be? I know we said something about it earlier, but why would we do that? Why would you give us Shayna Baszler versus Candice LeRae on that night? That better be your main event, too. Oh, is it because AEW starting? Is it because Rio and Nyla Rose are having a championship match to see who's going to be your first AEW Women's Champion? Nah, it can't be that. Oh, by the way, AEW has, TV name has been decided, and it's so awful that it will never be uttered on this show. It will never be uttered during their review. It is AEW on TNT on this channel, whether you like it or not. Anyway, Pete Dunne versus Arturo Ruas was your opener for this portion of NXT. This match was good, back and forth here. We had a beautiful kick that happened from Ruas. I don't know what the hell they call it. It's that, what was it? That jumping kick type of kick but I think he has Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is his background. It was like a brilliant Jiu-Jitsu type kick that nailed onto Pete Dunne. But this match was academic as Pete Dunne got him into his triangle, and he just starts bending the fingers back. He did step on Ruiz's arm early in the match, which he tried again, but Ruiz got out of the way. But he ends up bending him down. He broke him the first time, lost his grip. He grabbed one finger, bent it down again, and was going to bend it and then start hammering on it, but Ruiz tapped out, and that was that. Pete Dunne just stands tall, and he just shrugs his shoulders like, I don't know what the shrugging the shoulders is for, but it's something he's been doing since he's been over here. Then we got the surprise. My surprise of the night, my first surprise of the night was when I was watching this, and it's like Lio Rush versus Oney Lorcan for the number 1 contendership to the Cruiserweight Champion, Drew Gulak. This is your 205 Live match of the week for this thing. 205 Live, of course, happened on Tuesday. I think 205 Live is going to get canceled after next Tuesday's show on SmackDown. I think that's the last time they're going to do 205 Live on the network. But this was 205 Live. It came a little bit later, but that match was absolutely fantastic. My one complaint. Lio Rush, good as he is, and he looked fucking fantastic and phenomenal tonight. Lio Rush has been absent from WWE for about 4.5 months. Why is he getting a number 1 contender spot? Yes, I know Sasha Banks the same thing, but quite honestly, was there anybody else that they could have used in that spot with Becky Lynch? There are so many others that they could use for 205 Live for the Cruiserweights in that spot over Lio Rush. And before the match even happened, with the fact that it's Lio Rush versus Oney Lorcan, this is Lio Rush's return, there was no motherfucking way Lio Rush was not winning that match. Just saying. We get a promo for Dakota Kai. She will be in action and return next week. Absolutely fantastic. Phenomenal. Awesome. Cannot wait to see what happens with the Captain of the Team kick. Awesome news. Cannot wait to see what Dakota Kai does. I'm surprised they didn't just leave her off until we get to this October 2nd, but they're bringing her back next week. Happy days, happy days, happy days. Dakota Kai was one of my favorites last year, and since she's been on NXT. Her partner, the other member of Team Kick, as we all know, is Tegan Knox. She was in NXT UK at this time. She'll be taking on Kaylee Ray in 2 weeks. I did not watch NXT UK, but it was on Twitter earlier yesterday. Xia Li versus Aaliyah. This match was awful. Xia Li is okay. She looks like she's having fun. She looks like she's enjoying herself. She's got some moves. She can do what she can do. She can handle herself in the ring. Aaliyah needs to go away. You can bring the Born and Bougie up to Monday Night Raw and just put them in catering where nobody's going to see them. These two can't fucking wrestle. Like, Xia Li, bless her heart, she had to deal with this, and this was absolutely awful. I'm so glad this wasn't on the USA Network portion, because I'm pretty sure the execs at USA would have said, whoa, what the hell is that shit? Get that off our channel. That was how bad this match was. Tornado kick to Aaliyah, 1, 2, 3, and Xia Li was your winner. Nothing else you can say about this. This was not a match worth NXT. Denzel DeJournette, who looked like he was about 6'2", maybe 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", wearing some rainbow like blue and purple-ish like flowery looking colors. I don't know what the hell he was wearing. Comes to the ring. He's supposed to face Conchita. Out comes from nowhere Marcel Barthel, Fabian Aichner, and Alexander Wolf of Imperium. They surround the ring. They hit the ring and triple team Denzel. Fans chant for. They're like, "Where is Walter? Where is Walter? We want Walter. We want Walter." Now, Aichner, Barthel, and Wolf stand tall. They do their pose with their hands behind their back, and out comes Walter with the NXT UK Championship. Fans humming or singing his song. Walter marches to the ring as the Imperium members stand at attention in the ring. Walter takes a mic from Wolf as fans chant for him. Walter says they are Imperium, and to them, this mat is sacred. Imperium is here to restore the honor and the tradition of their sport, and from this day forward, those who disrespect the tradition, their time shall be spent answering to Imperium. Until Kushita's music hits, he has a microphone. He's going to speak for the first time, I believe, on NXT television, if I'm correct. Says this is his time, and Walter's time belongs to him. Wolf attacks, gets dropped. Kushida fights off Aichner and Barthel, but Walter grabs him and manhandles him in the ring from the apron. Fans chant for Walter, but Kushida gets free and delivers a kick. Kushida retreats from the ring, and Walter and Imperium stare him down. Kushida, off microphone, looks like he challenges Walter to a match. If you did not see NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff, Walter versus Tyler Bates, that was a fantastic match. I fully expect to see whenever that match happens, Walter and Kushida not matching that, because I don't think they're going 40 minutes in a match on NXT television, but I can see those two giving you one hell of a match. The biggest problem I have with this is that it was on the network where we all know who they are, or should know. But this was something I would have left until October 2nd. The only thing so far we have for October 2nd is Shayna Baszler versus Candice LeRae. Should be your main event. However, this would have been a massive shock. This would have been something to have on that show. It's like, hey, I don't care what and you would have people talking who are not AEW fans coming on Twitter. It's like, I don't know what the AEW clowns are doing, but Walter's on the NXT television. And man, maybe you get some of these people who aren't sure about AEW switching over to watch what's going on with Walter. I would have kept this on. I would have kept these guys away for the next 2 weeks. This week and next week, don't have these guys show up. Have them show up on the first episode when you're going head-to-head with AEW. Fuck the like people want to say this is a war. Fuck this Wednesday Night War. This is the best time we are going to have for us. You have AEW, you have Raw, you have SmackDown, you have NXT, You have NXT UK if you want to watch that on the network. There is so much wrestling in this world. Impact's going to Access. If I was them, I would go to either Thursday or Tuesday, because I would not go to Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. Just saying. There's just so much wrestling, and if you are somebody who wants to watch some wrestling that is more indie-ish, MLW is on YouTube every Monday before Monday Night Raw. I just watched a War Chamber match on Monday. That was not a bad match. It's their take on the War Games, because they gave up the War Games name to WWE. They had a War Chambers match. Wasn't bad. They aren't perfect. I mean, I did watch an episode like 3 or 4 weeks ago that was absolutely atrocious. But they have their hits, they have their misses. If you want to check that out, go check it out. MLW Fusion. It's on every Monday leading into Monday Night Raw. But there's just so much good wrestling. There has never been this much good wrestling at all. There hasn't been this much good wrestling and this as accessible as we do now. In the 80s, no. There was WWF and Jim Crockett Promotions, and that was that. WCW, WWF in the 90s, WWE in the 2000s, with TNA in the late 2000s. Ring of Honor I would say Ring of Honor has come down from its high, which is when the Elite was there, and a little bit before that when Adam Cole and them was still there. But Ring of Honor, it's trying to build itself back up. Impact's trying to get its foot in here. We have AEW starting. We have NXT, Raw, SmackDown, and so much more after that. New Japan as well. Women's of Wrestling as well, which is supposed to be on Access TV as well. There's just so much, and this is just the start of things. The biggest positive, before we get into the number one contenders match, of NXT being live is that there are no more spoilers. We won't see the Undisputed Era winning Roderick Strong winning the title and knowing a week before, or 3 weeks before, or 4 weeks before. So that was a good positive. But number one contenders match, Lio Rush versus Oney Lorcan. This was awesome. Lio Rush, great to see him come back. He comes into the ring and people are chanting "Welcome back" as soon as the bell rings. Oh, good grief. Lorcan goes over there and rushes into the corner 3 times, trying to pretty much put an end to Lio Rush like that. He hits a blockbuster for a close 2 count. Lorcan goes for a half and half, but Rush blocks it, and from there it is back and forth between these two. Rush showing that this guy has the potential to be a mega star in the wrestling business if he gets his attitude in check. If this guy goes into this run in NXT and is a good little boy, or a good boy, and actually puts in the work, puts in the time, gives the respect to those who came before him, he should have a hell of a run, and he is probably going to be, if everything goes right, he is probably going to be your next Cruiserweight champion. So, Dragon Screw leg whip by Lorcan with some chops. He works on the leg of Lio Rush. He gets him in a half crab at least 3 times. Lio Rush ends up hitting a big, at the end of the match, Lorcan charges for another blockbuster. These guys have been going back and forth. But he goes for a blockbuster. Rush with a running Spanish fly. Wasn't the prettiest running Spanish fly. I've seen better. But it was a running Spanish fly. It was quick. It wasn't one of those slow Spanish flies that you see coming from the top rope that seem to just... It just seems to slow down time when that Spanish fly happens. This one was flip, done, and that was it. Goes up top, hits what he calls the Dragon's Crown, I believe it was. Frog splash for the 1, 2, 3. Lio Rush will face Drew Gulak. That match has not been announced, but I have a feeling it might be on that October 2nd show as well. Matt Riddle versus Killian Dane. This match was all type of craziness. This match, I did not like the ending of it. This felt main roster-ish at the end. These guys are beating the hell out of each other. Killian Dane with a quick drop kick from the beginning of the match. They are beating the hell out of each other. They get out of the ring. They are brawling around. They get pushed to the back. The Forgotten Sons are there, clapping along like, yeah, kick each other's asses, yeah. We go to the outside. They're brawling by a step, and there's a Walter. It looks like he was sitting down with some people in some suits and talking about things, maybe getting some endorsement deals for his team. Maybe he was doing some personal business. When all of a sudden he goes up and grabs Matt Riddle and puts him in a chokehold. The Wrestling Imperium joining the beatdown, but the Street Profits and the Forgotten Sons attack Imperium as chaos breaks out. Other roster members join the brawl. The locker room brawls back into the arena, including Dane and Riddle. Fans with the NXT chant as a huge brawl continues. Riddle tackles Dane in the ring, but for whatever reason, because it's a fucking street fight, and a street fight means no disqualification, no countouts, no rules, security come in to break it up. Fans start to boo. Mario and Alice screaming, "Let them fight, Nigel." The security is trying to stop the brawl going around the arena. Riddle was the big German to a member of the security. Dane tosses Jackson Ryker out of the ring. The ring fills up with various superstars. Referees, officials, and security trying to break things up. Dane runs the ropes and there's a huge dive out of the ring, taking a bunch of others down. Holy shit chant breaks out as NXT goes off the air. And what, in my opinion, felt like a very, very underwhelming ending. That felt main roster-ish. That didn't feel like we should have had. That felt like that was a Vince McMahon influence. That was a Vince McMahon call. That felt like something Vince McMahon wanted them to do. Now, the most puzzling thing is the fact that they went off 10 minutes early. After the show was over, the brawling continued, and then William Regal walks out, gets into the ring, grabs a mic, looks at Dane, and says, "This street fight will continue next week on the USA Network, and I'm going to give you two some incentive. The winner of the match next week will be the number one contender to Adam Cole's NXT Championship." That's going to be a War Games main event right there. That's your War Games number one contendership, in my opinion. I'm just wondering, why did this have to be exclusive to YouTube or Twitter? Like a social media exclusive. Why couldn't this have been the way the show ended? That would have been the way the show ends, where you have William Regal walk down, he says his piece, where he's like, "We're going to have this match continue next week on the USA Network, and I'm going to give you some incentive." And that incentive is, one of you guys is going to be facing Adam Cole for the NXT Championship next. Why didn't that happen? It's like, yeah, they want to give you a reason to watch next week, but most of these people are going to sit there and be like, okay, the show's over, and a lot of people aren't content creators who are going to watch the show. They're just people who's going to turn on off and go to bed. They're not going to look on YouTube or Twitter to say, oh, what happened after the show? Who knows? Maybe they continued brawling. Maybe the brawling finished up, and maybe they got enough security to come out and stop the brawling. We don't know. I think they should have had that little thing because the brawling pretty much stopped after William Regal said his piece. It seemed like everyone just stopped. And it's like, that should have been the end. We could have had Beth Phoenix, Mario Ranallo, and Nigel McGuinness have their opinion on on the announcement from William Regal, but they didn't do that. I don't get why they didn't have that. Another thing that makes that I'm questioning, last week on the final taped episode, they did a street talk with the Street Profits in New York when they were on the way to Madison Square Garden. They were in the what's the park called? Central Park. They were on a stone. And they talked about that it hasn't been the same since they lost the NXT Tag Team titles. And I believe Montez Ford was like, wouldn't it be something if we showed up to to NXT on the USA Network next week and won back those NXT Tag Team titles? And that was pretty much a challenge. Then if I'm correct, didn't NXT's Twitter account announce that it was official for this week that the Street Profits versus the Undisputed Era would be on this show? No mention of that match happening now or later. No reason why the match was cut. I don't get why that match was cut. So they could have had the Cameron Grimes and Shawn Maluda match did not need to happen. You could have just cut that out, gave that little bit more time to Candice LeRae and to the Fatal 4-Way, and just had two matches on USA Network, which would have been just fine. And then you also could have cut out the Born and Bougie. You could have cut out the Imperium. That's 2 parts right there that could have gave you that tag team title match, but they didn't do that. So maybe it's going to happen next week. I don't have a clue, but I'm just like, what happened to the Street Profits? Where did that match go? Did they realize they didn't have enough time for it? Because quite honestly, that is a main event caliber match. I don't expect it next week because we're having the street fight. We're having Dominic. That first hour is going to be fucking fantastic. You have a street fight. You have with the winner facing Adam Cole probably at War Games or the next week. You have, which I hope it's not, because that's 3 weeks in a row we've seen Killian Dane or Adam or Matt Riddle, and we don't need to see that. You also have, shit, I lost my train of thought there. All I know is the next week is going to be great because you have the Street Profits. Oh, not Street Profits. You have that street fight. Then you have you have Dakota Kai returning, which is going to be awesome. Can't wait to see what she does. Then the week after that, you have the Women's Championship. The reason I say that Candice LeRae is not winning the NXT Women's Championship on that night is because it makes no sense. And Io Shirai and her not have unfinished business, and I fully expect Io Shirai to get involved with that match on October 2nd. I fully expect Io Shirai to screw Candice LeRae out of the title, leading to a match possibly later on down the line at either War Games or on one of the episodes leading up to War Games in some kind of maybe cage match, hardcore match, last woman standing match, Falls Count Anywhere match. Who knows? All I know is Io Shirai is going to cost Candice LeRae a shot at the Women's Championship on October 2nd. I have no doubt about it. This was a great episode. Take out the Cameron Grimes, Sean Maluda match, Desire Lee, and Aaliyah match. Those matches did not need to be there. You take those out, and this is a fantastic episode. I do not like the fact that Imperium was already thrown into this. I don't think they should have been there just yet. Again, save that for the first episode. It didn't even have to be the first episode. It could be the second episode. That should have happened when you're going up against AEW. That should not have been on the network and not on USA. That was a misfire by Triple H or whoever decided to bring them in. So we have Keith Lee versus Dominik Dijakovic next week. That is going to be on the USA Network portion. And Matt Riddle versus Keith Lee, versus Killian Dane. I keep messing things up. I'm sorry. That first hour should be those 2 matches and those 2 matches only. That second hour is when Dakota Kai returns. And that second hour, we have no idea what the hell they're doing in that second hour. But next week is going to be just as loaded as this week. And you're going to expect that from here on out. Now, honestly, I wish there was a way that they would, like, I know it's going to be, the thing that's going to be interesting is when we get, not now, not next week, not the week after that, when we get closer to War Games and you see the same people in the crowd, you see them, is their enthusiasm going to be there still? I really don't want to see Matt Riddle versus Killian Dane next week because we saw it this week. Have it for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks from now. And if it is definitive, have the match next week, and have them winner, and then have that match set for War Games. Don't have them face Adam Cole the next week or the week after that. We're already feeling like they're gonna maybe overexpose people, and they're already starting with Killian Dane and Matt Riddle. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But next week should be fun with those 2 matches. That first hour is going to be Hoss heavy. The second hour is going to be interesting because other than Dakota Kai returning, which I'm fully expect to be in that second hour, there's nothing that has been really announced for that second hour yet. But this is your NXT review for this week. It's going to be up at noon on September 19th. This is how it's going to be from here on out, unless, of course, if I haven't seen NXT by noon. It will be up on the Thursday after every episode because AEW is happening on Wednesdays. It's going to be a higher priority because a lot of NXT fans don't even watch NXT when it goes live on the network. They watch it maybe later in the afternoon, Thursday, Friday, Saturday if there's no takeover, Sunday, even maybe Monday. Hell, maybe even they watch it the week before the next episode of NXT. What's going to be interesting is how this first show did ratings-wise. How is next week going to do? How is the week? But I honestly think this episode and next week's episode ratings don't matter as much because it's unopposed. It's the week that they go up against AEW. Who has the better ratings? If AEW's ratings kill NXT's ratings, that's when you know Vince McMahon is getting involved. Because Vince McMahon is going to get involved because he will be like, well, I gave you a chance, Triple H. I'm gonna have to get in the driver's seat because I'm the only one in this company that can drive those ratings up, and we all know that's a damn lie. For me, this isn't gonna be a war because I'm not making it a war. I'm not back in the 90s. You had one way. You had to watch either Raw or Nitro. Now you can watch AEW on Wednesdays and NXT on Thursdays. It's not that difficult. But that is going to be all for you. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitch and Twitter at The France Club. And I'll see you guys for Sunday for Unscripted as we continue on this road to AEW coming soon. We're going to have to talk about that tag team tournament bracket that they just premiered last night on Tuesday. And so much more. Until then, my name is The France, and you guys have a good one.